This week that Cole Palmer must wonder if Chelsea is the right club for him. Of course, if they don't get Champions League football, I mean, they're in one of the key positions at the moment, but if they don't, do you think that alters his mindset? Do you think he'll be on his way? Should he move?
I suppose the obvious response to that, I know Jamie touched on this in his piece, that's the question he should have asked when he was signing such a long contract. Because, I mean, I have to say, obviously this has become such a prominent Chelsea strategy, but I'm amazed the player committed to it, given we had such a precedent from this. In 2018, Harry Kane signed a 6-year deal, and that was at a point about where, it was at a moment where Spurs were one of the best teams in England. The future looked very promising under Mauricio Pochettino, and okay, you could understand it to a certain degree based on that, but even at the time, people were saying 6 years.
Yeah, just quantify it. So his contract, Cole Palmer's contract, 2033.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't know what's going to happen. So it does feel remarkable for a player to commit to that level. I mean, look, with Kane, within a year, or sorry, a year and a bit, Pochettino was gone. Within 3 years, he was trying to get a move to Manchester City or potentially Manchester United, but couldn't because he was so anchored to the contract. And now Palmer does feel in exactly the same situation. And as far as I'm told, it's nothing like there's no clause in there about kind of failing to get into the Champions League or anything like that. And suddenly, all these kind of questions like they start to swirl around. I know Chelsea fans will be watching this quite maybe irritated. We're having this discussion, but then Chelsea were on the other side of that when they were kind of guaranteed Champions League qualifiers for so long. And now if you're not there, given a player of Palmer's status, who will want to be there at that level, performing every week at that level, it's naturally going to come into the discussion. But again, he's put himself in this situation.
What do you think, Darren, on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Miguel. On the one hand, he's not going anywhere. He's got that long contract, so Chelsea are in the driving seat as far as he's concerned. I think it is a solvable problem for Chelsea, because if they get him more help, then the focus is less on him. And it was always going to be the case that he was going to hit a point at which he wasn't scoring goals. But I think what he has crystallised a perception of him as is an elite player. He's a top player. And even though he's not scoring goals, there is still that recognition that he is a top player and he will be scoring goals again. But he couldn't do it on his own. There was never any chance that he was going to continue doing that. He's a young player. He's not long been at Chelsea from Manchester City. I think he went to Chelsea to play more regularly. He didn't go to Chelsea to think, oh, I've got to win silverware straight away. He knows what they're trying to do. I think if they bring in another striker, Osimhen, for example, I know there is a long sort of dialogue that's been ongoing for quite some time with him. 33 goals in 36 matches. He'd be a great fit. To be fair, he'd be a great fit for Liverpool as well. But I think for Chelsea, he'd be a great fit. And suddenly you've got Jackson, you've got Osimhen, and then you've got less.